Have you ever noticed something strange? The nicest person in the room is often the one who gets ignored, overworked, and taken for granted, while someone who's less helpful somehow earns more respect. Why does that happen? Is the world actually unfair? Or is there a psychological reason behind it? Because if you misunderstand the answer, you'll spend years giving everything to everyone and receive almost nothing in return. Here's the truth that most people discover far too late. Imagine two coworkers. The first one never says no. He stays late, covers extra shifts, fixes everyone else's mistakes, and always agrees to help. The second coworker is polite, but selective. He helps when it matters, protects his time, and isn't afraid to decline unreasonable requests. Now ask yourself, who usually earns more respect? Most people assume it's the first person, but in reality, it's often the second. And the reason has nothing to do with kindness. It has everything to do with psychology. Your brain is wired to value what seems limited.
Think about it. Gold is valuable because it's rare. A luxury watch is desirable because not everyone can have it. Even your time feels more valuable when you're busy. The exact same rule applies to people. When you're always available, always agreeing, always sacrificing, your kindness slowly becomes expected instead of appreciated. At first, people say thank you. Then they stop noticing. Eventually, they begin expecting it. Without realizing it, you've trained everyone around you that your time has no cost. And that's where many nice people make their biggest mistake. They believe respect comes from endless giving. But respect doesn't grow from saying yes to everything. Respect grows when people know your kindness has value. Think back to school. There was probably one student everyone copied homework from. At first, everyone praised them. Then, something changed. People stopped asking politely. They started assuming the answers would always be there. The helper became a resource instead of a person. It happens in families, it happens in friendships, it happens in relationships, it happens at work. The pattern is everywhere. Here's another psychological trap. Many nice people confuse being liked with being accepted. They fear disappointing others, so they say yes, even when they're exhausted. They apologize for things that aren't their fault. They avoid conflict at any cost. For a while, this feels safe. Nobody gets upset, nobody argues, but something invisible starts happening. Every time you ignore your own needs to protect someone else's comfort, you quietly teach yourself that your needs matter less, and people often follow the value you place on yourself. This doesn't mean people are evil. Most aren't. People naturally adapt to the behavior they're shown. If someone gives without limits, others stop seeing the limit. Not because they're cruel, but because the human brain quickly normalizes what happens repeatedly. It's called adaptation. The extraordinary becomes ordinary. That's why your biggest sacrifice often becomes someone else's expectation. Now, here's the twist that surprises most people. The opposite of being nice isn't being rude, it's having boundaries. There's a huge difference. A rude person says, "I don't care about anyone." A healthy person says, "I care about others, but I won't abandon myself." Those sound similar, but psychologically, they're worlds apart. Imagine someone asking you for a favor while you're already overwhelmed. Version 1 says yes, even though they're stressed, tired, and secretly resentful. Version 2 smiles and says, "I'd love to help another time, but I can't today." Who is actually being more honest? Who's building healthier relationships? Ironically, boundaries create trust because people know your yes is genuine. If you never say no, your yes loses its meaning. Think about the people you admire most. Teachers, leaders, successful entrepreneurs, confident friends. Most of them aren't endlessly available, yet they're often deeply respected. Why? Because they understand a simple truth. Every yes costs something. Time, energy, attention, peace of mind. The people who succeed don't protect these things because they're selfish. They protect them because they're valuable. And here's something even more powerful. Research in psychology consistently shows that people who set healthy boundaries often experience better relationships,
lower stress, and greater self-respect over time. Not because they care less, but because they stop giving from exhaustion.
They give from choice. That's the difference. Real kindness isn't destroying yourself to make everyone else comfortable. Real kindness includes yourself. So if you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever wondered why your effort wasn't appreciated, maybe the problem isn't that you're too kind. Maybe you've been teaching people that your kindness has no limit, and anything without limits eventually loses value. The goal isn't to become colder. It isn't to stop helping. It isn't to stop caring. The goal is to become someone whose kindness is intentional, not automatic. Someone who gives because they choose to, not because they're afraid of saying no. Because the people who truly change the world aren't the ones who sacrifice themselves for everyone. They're the ones who protect their energy so they can keep making a difference for years. So the next time you're about to say yes, pause for just 1 second. Ask yourself one simple question. Am I saying yes because I genuinely want to? The answer to that question might quietly change the rest of your life.